Hello, welcome to your mommy yoga class. So today we're going to start on our backs. So just make sure as you're coming down that you remove any toys off of your yoga mat and that you roll yourself onto your side and then walk your way down. So what we're doing is just avoiding that reverse sit up to get down, as that can exacerbate or make that diastasis recti down the center line worse. And if you haven't got it checked by a pelvic floor physiotherapist, then you probably want to do that and make sure that everything is okay postpartum. Okay, so make sure you're not straining your neck to see the screen. I'll try and give you really good cues so you know what we're doing. I'm gonna lay my legs out long and bring one hand to belly and one hand to heart. So give the feet a little flop back and forth, and then splay them open. Find a little bit of heaviness and softening in the lower back and the glutes. Then as you start to breathe in and out through your nose, feel the rise and lower of your hands. From your belly to your chest, slow, nourishing cycles. We're not worrying too much here about counting the breath or what we should be feeling or thinking right now. We're simply celebrating the fact that you were able to show up today for yourself and just existing here in the present, in this moment, with your beautiful self, with your beautiful breath. Inhaling and exhaling. Nice long cycles. Beautiful. Two more. And slowly, you can start to wiggle into the toes, move into the legs, wiggle the fingers, move into the arms, and gently open your eyes. All right, we're gonna start by drawing the right knee in towards the right armpit. And if you can clasp on top of the shin or on top of the knee, you can go ahead and do that and help draw the right knee in. So I'm just drawing it over to the right side of my body, kind of towards the right armpit, and keep both feet flexed and charged. We're just starting to work into the hip joint, stretching out the glute. I'm gonna get into the glutes today, so you're gonna feel them nice and fiery. And the glutes are an essential part of the body to work postpartum. Good, we're gonna straighten that right leg out now, attempting to straighten both legs and then clasping behind the hamstring. Now, if this isn't available to you, no problem. Put a gentle bend into your right knee if you're feeling like this is too big of a hamstring stretch. This is the first hamstring stretch of the class, and so the muscle's not quite warm yet. It might not be able to access this very deeply, and that's okay. So just do what feels good for you now. Remember, we're not moving to that 90% edge right now. No, we're celebrating that you just showed up and that you're here on the mat. So move into like a 60-70% edge maximum. Keep breathing, nourishing breaths, flexing the feet. And then slowly we're gonna draw that leg across the body towards the left side. And you can take your left hand and rest it on top of the leg, anchoring yourself down with the right arm. You can suspend here in the air and feel this big juicy stretch in through your glute. Or if it's available to you, you can take that foot all the way down to meet the ground. If you feel like you're more recently postpartum or have a cesarean scar and you feel like this is too much pressure, just take it up a bit. You don't need to come so deep. Remember, you're moving in a way that feels good for you right now. You're not comparing yourself to what I look like or what anybody else looks like or to what you could do pre-baby. Right here, right now, what feels good for you, what feels nourishing. Keep those comparisons at bay. Good, and then slowly come back up And you can go ahead and just release that leg all the way down to the mat. Give it a little shake out, and let's prepare for the opposite side. So left knee comes up, hug it in towards the left armpit. Keep both feet flexed and charged. And so why we really focus and target the glute muscles in postnatal classes is because if you didn't have proper alignment while pregnant, especially in that third trimester when belly is more bountiful, it's very hard to stand in proper alignment. And so what happens is the hips thrust forward, and then we get that deactivation of the glute muscles. So the glute muscles essentially turn off and they become kind of flattened. And so we want to make sure that we have strong glute muscles. You can go ahead and straighten that leg, coming into your version of scissor legs. If you need the legs bent, go ahead. So we want to make sure to strengthen those glute muscles back, building that muscle memory. And as they are a part of a team of the pelvic floor and the core. So the pelvic floor, your Mula Bandha, and the core, your Uddiyana Bandha, and they all work together, and the glutes are a part of that team. So we need to make sure they're firing, they're strong. And that's what this class is intended to do, is kind of wake them back up. Let's draw the leg across the body over towards the right, and bringing yourself down only as far as feels good for you. I like to hang out here at a 45-degree angle. That feels really good for me. I'm getting a beautiful stretch through my glute, even through my hip. So explore your movement. Explore what feels good. One more breath. And then slowly coming back up, release that foot down. Okay, roll those knees over to the side, and we're just gonna make our way up the same way as we came down, walking the hands up and up and up into a tall seat. Starting by bringing your feet together into your bound angle. So sitting up nice and tall here, we're just gonna start to move front to back, getting a little bit of spinal flexion in through the spine as you round back, and you can shine your heart up as you come through. Getting that movement in the hip joint feels good. And maybe as you inhale to come through, you can find a little bit more deepening into the space between your legs. And if you want to pause anywhere, if it feels really good and you just kind of want to hold it, do it. Good. One more cycle. And then coming to sit up tall in your seat. All right, so we're going to take that right foot and swivel it around behind. Now this one is called 90-degree legs because we're essentially making 90-degree angles at the ankles and 90-degree angles at the knee joints. So you want to open up your stance here so that your left calf is parallel to your right thigh and they're running parallel to each other. Still sitting up tall, my right sit bone is never going to hit the ground. It's never going to access it. So that's okay. We're just working into that. So you're going to take your right thumb and put it in the gluteus medius, right on the top part of your glute, that fleshy part, and kind of grab hold of the hip there. Left hand goes behind you, and then inhale, grab the fleshy part of the glute as you rotate towards the left. Okay, exhale will bring you right back through front and sit that right sit bone down as much as you can. Again, mine will never touch, yours may or may not, it's okay. Inhale, so this is a flow. Find your rhythm. And exhale, you find a big stretch up through the inner thigh here. Yeah. One more cycle. And come back through center. Okay, so now we're going to join the heel and the knee. So bring them in through the center and kind of connect them there. Plant your left hand down behind you and then inhale up for your mermaid pose. So this is a beautiful side stretch. Lift your hip up towards the sky. And if you want to, you can cycle that arm back 3 big rotations, warming up your shoulder. We like to go back because it helps open up the chest. Beautiful coming to sit down. With all the baby carrying and all the baby holding, we get this rounding of the spine. So any heart opener is really beautiful. Okay, opposite side. So we're just gonna flip the feet around for that 90-degree angles with the legs. So opening the legs up so that they're running parallel. 90-degree at ankles, 90-degree at knees. Good. Left hand into the top of your glute, the fleshy part. And here we're gonna wrap it around. Inhale towards the right. Settle. Flow at your own rate of breath. Nice. Feels good for me. I hope it feels good for you. Last one. Come back through your center. Connect heel and knee. Plant your right hand behind you and find that beautiful mermaid stretch. Cycle your arm back 3 times if you want to. If you like to sit in stillness, you can as well. And coming back down through your center. Okay, sweep both feet around behind you now and come to sit on your heels. And give your wrists a little roll out or at least a little warm up here. So we are gonna be on the wrists a lot, and I just wanna let you know a few modifications that you can take if you need to. So if your wrists are giving you trouble in the joint, then feel free to come up onto your fists. Straightening the wrist crease out helps to alleviate that pressure on the joint. Other options are to grab a pillow or a blanket, a rolled up towel even, and place it underneath you, bringing your forearms down onto the floor or onto your prop if you want to be up a little higher. And then that way there's no pressure on your wrist at all. So whichever version you want to do, coming into your tabletop, if you want to come into the full expression here on your hands, inch your hands forward slightly and root all 10 fingers into the floor. And this will help alleviate some of the pressure as well. Okay, so we're gonna extend that right leg long into a big calf stretch. Ooh, calves are super juicy. They take so much weight throughout the day and we often don't give them a ton of love. And I really feel like a lot of neck and back pain is attributed to tightness in the calf and the foundation. So breathe deep there. And then we're gonna raise that right leg up and bring it parallel to the floor. So don't bring it too high up. Keep your heel in line with your hip and shine the beam of light out of your heel to activate all the way up to the upper gluteus medius that we were charging up before. And then bend your knee. So bend your knee and take a peek over your right shoulder and make sure that your ankle is stacked over your knee and your knee is in line with your hip. And then from here, we're gonna raise the roof. So just lift your heel up 1 inch. If you do bigger ones, you're gonna activate the gluteus maximus, and I want you to activate the gluteus medius. The gluteus medius is this upper glute muscle that's responsible for holding your sacrum in place. The sacrum is that big bone that sits at the back of your pelvis and it's really shifty. And if you get sciatica or SI joint pain, that's a result of that pinching on the nerve. And so we're strengthening that area as well as strengthening the glute, which as I said, tend to turn off in those later stages of pregnancy. Good. And then lower all the way down. Give the hips a swivel. Give the wrists a swivel. Yeah, feels good. And we're gonna do the same thing on the opposite side. So when you're ready, coming forward into your version of tabletop, and then extend the left leg long. Calf stretch, glorious. How does that feel? Can you still breathe? Meeting that 60-70% edge, no more. Not pushing ourselves, not as mothers, not right now. We have enough going on and pushing us in all different directions. So make sure this practice is nourishing. All right, raise that left leg up parallel to the floor, activate all the way up to the upper glute and bend your knee. Make sure everything is in alignment and then raise the roof. Just 1 inch, no more. And you're activating to the upper glute medius. Feel that fire? Yeah. Okay. And lower down. Whew, my goodness. Okay, swivel the hips, sit back on the heels, untuck your toes, and we're gonna bring the knees together. So many months of pregnancy did not allow you to compress the belly in any of these poses. You weren't able to lay on your belly. And I feel like compressing the belly and compressing the organs brings this great sense of calm and relief. And so we're gonna do that now in a child's pose. So with knees together, provided it's comfortable for you, feel free to separate if you want to. We are going to come forward, but bring the arms behind you with your palms facing up. Okay, so you can help your way down, walking, walking, walking. See if you can bring the forehead to your mat. If not, then bring the mat up to you with a prop, a pillow or a blanket. And then extend your arms behind you with your palms facing up. Last cue here is let your shoulders slump forward, kind of like they're hugging your knees. Get as heavy as possible here. Compressing the organs, feeling that flood of relief, of calm, peace. One more breath. Make it strong, make it deep. Put it into your back body. Very slowly, we're going to take those hands back in front and help to walk back up. Let your head hang heavy. So this is a ragdoll to rise by letting your head be the last to come up. Good. Coming all the way up to the top. All right, we're gonna get back onto all fours. So if you need to modify for wrists, you can. So coming back onto all fours, we're gonna take the right knee up and out to the side and take it up as high as you possibly can, like a dog peeing on a fire hydrant. And then we're gonna circle the knee forward. Big, big circles. Keep the foot flexed and charged. That fire is okay, slight discomfort, okay, pain, not okay. So if you need to modify, please do. Last cycle around. Okay, rest your right knee down and we're gonna take the left knee up. As you do this, also make sure you're not shifting all the weight into your right hand. Big circles around. Make sure the weight is distributed evenly in between both hands. Foot is flexed. Good. You're gonna feel this tomorrow in the bum. That's okay. This is all good stuff. Working out these muscles that might have been turned off for a while. Last cycle around. And come down. Curl your toes under, take your knees wide, and we're gonna ragdoll to stand. So that means slowly lift your bum up, keep your knees soft, let your arms hang. See if you can let your head really hang here too. And rising up, stacking vertebrae upon vertebrae. Your head will be the last to rise. I'm going really slowly here because it's so good for the spine. Creating that little bit of traction and opening between the discs, the vertebrae. So good. And then coming up to the top. Okay, so we're gonna come into chair pose and then you're gonna feel this fire in the glutes right away as well. So first finding mountain. And remember, mountain pose, it might be a big departure from where you were prenatally, right? So if you were here prenatally with big bountiful belly, hips thrust forward, the glutes are turned off, then we really want to correct that and make sure ears are stacked over shoulders, shoulders are stacked over hips, hips are stacked over heels, and feet are parallel. Now the feet, all four corners of the feet are pressing into the earth, so not just sitting on your heels here. And then blossom your bum. Make sure it's not tucked under. Blossom the bum. Set your rib cage right up over top of the pelvis. Essentially, your chin is parallel to the floor And then imagine a string pulling you up from the crown. So this is your mountain pose. Palms facing forward. Also helps to kind of open up the chest. Let's take 3 big breaths here. I love out breaths where you're forcing that exhale out through the mouth. Last one. Beautiful. Okay, so coming to the top of your mat, if you're not already there, I'm going to show you from the side view. Take your hands to your hips, and we're going to just take a giant step back with the right foot, planting the heel down in the back toe, it facing forward. So the legs are straight, but here the knees are soft. So there's a bit of softness, a little bit of bend into the knees. You don't want them locked here as we prepare for our pyramid pose. Hands to your hips with your thumbs kind of in the gluteus part of the back of your pelvis here. Inhale, lift and lengthen up tall through your spine. And now exhale, come forward halfway, just hinging at the hips here halfway. Now let's set ourselves so that the left hip crease goes back and the right hip crease comes forward. And this levels off your pelvis to make it nice and level as if a glass were sitting on the back of the sacrum there. And then if you want to there, you can come a little bit deeper. It depends where your practice takes you. You know, I'm feeling a really juicy stretch here. I've got my pelvis in good alignment, lifting up through the crown of my head. I'm gonna stay here. This is perfect for me. My knees are not locked. There's a little micro bend in them. And I'm breathing. This feels nourishing for me. Check in with you. Doesn't have to look like me. One more breath. And then when you're ready, come up and rotate to the opposite side. And now you're facing the back of your mat. So your back foot, your left foot is facing forward, hands to your hips. Inhale, lift and lengthen. And exhale, hinge forward. So right hip creases back, left hip creases forward now. And coming to your maximum. So preparing for our chair pose next. You can really feel that fire. We're getting a nice stretch in through that area of the glute, the hamstring. One more breath. And slowly come to rise. Rotate your feet facing the front of your mat and hop it up. Okay, so when you're ready, plant your feet, find that mountain pose, and then take your hands to your hips again, and we're gonna sit back into a chair. So I'll show you from the side view so you can see here. It's like I'm pushing my bum back, like I'm finding a chair to sit on. Now, all 4 corners of my feet are equally rooted into the earth, so I'm not just sitting the weight in my heels. And then imagining there's a string attached to my hips, I'm gonna cinch that string closed slightly. Lift the bits, the pelvic floor, up slightly as well. And what this does is it creates an integration of your Mula Bandha and your Uddiyana Bandha, so your pelvic floor and your core, to create that strength and integrate there. Okay, then from there, I want you to lift your heart up as much as possible. If you want to come into the full expression of this pose with arms up overhead, feel free to do so. I am fully gonna stay right here with my hands on my hips because that feels good for me today. Lower your shoulders down. And you can see I'm putting a little bounce in my movement. I like a little bit of movement in every pose, so I try and find that, but if you like to be still, you can. Now we're gonna raise one heel up and then alternate. Opposite heel comes up. Lower it down, alternate, and just keep going like that. So you're feeling the foundation fire up, that's good. Keeping your heart lifted, activating your core. So we're building lots of postpartum essentials here. And it's fiery. Good, one more to either side. And then slowly rise up. Oh, yeah. Okay, take a little stroll to the back of your mat and do a little genie squat to lower down. Reach for the floor and come forward. So we're gonna come all the way to the bum. Yeah. And find a staff pose. So I like staff pose. This is kind of like a mountain pose, but seated. So we're finding our alignment. We're just kind of getting ready to move into the next posture. So remove the flesh out of the way of your sits bones. Flex your toes, sit up tall, ears stacked over shoulders, shoulders over hips, and breathe. It's hard to sit up tall. That's your core activating to get you here. So if you're finding this a struggle, you can roll up the back of your yoga mat and give yourself a little bit of height. Even if it's just an inch of height under your sit bones, can help encourage your pelvis to spill forward and give you that height in your spine. Okay, we're gonna bend into the left knee now and take the outside edge of that foot on top of the right thigh. Use the weight of your left hand to just rest on your left knee and allow gravity to open up that joint of your hip. And just noticing what you're feeling here. Do you want to stay here? Is this a huge stretch for you? Because for most it is. Or do you want to juicify it? And if you do, you can lean back into your hands and bend into your right knee. So bending into your right knee as much or as little as you want. Find that sweet spot for you, that spot where you can still breathe and access your breath. That's not too deep. And if you are here in the seated figure 4 with your knee bent, I want you to make sure you're lifting your heart. Squeeze your shoulder blades to your spine. Yeah. Juicy, juicy. I like to close my eyes during these deep hip openers to make sure I'm not holding on to any added tension in those trigger spots within my body. So I know where they are for me, my jaw, my eyebrows, kind of behind my eyeballs, and in my traps and my shoulders. So I just quickly scan those areas, make sure that I'm not holding on to any added tension. Good, and slowly, slowly releasing down. Extend that left leg long, give it a little shake out, and find your staff pose once again. Bend into the right knee this time, flex the foot, put that outside edge on top, and let that right knee be heavy. So I just like to rest a palm on it, and the weight of the arm is sometimes enough. So notice what you need right now. Do you want to increase the stretch by leaning back into your hands and bending into your left knee? If you are, make sure your heart is lifted. Make sure your collarbones are wide. Close your eyes and just start to reflect inward. One more breath. Make it nourishing, make it deep. And slowly releasing down. Help that leg out and give it one last shake. Okay, we're gonna come back down onto our back. So again, rolling the knees out to the side and walk your way down with your arms, your hands for support, and make your way onto your back. Okay, from your back, your knees are bent and feet are planted on the floor, hip width distance apart. Take your arms by your sides and make sure they're hugging your sides so they're touching the sides of your body, and palms into the floor. Now shimmy your shoulder blades towards one another, and here you create this little arc of support at the base of your neck, imagining your shoulder blades are kissing your spine. We're preparing for bridge pose right now. So take a big inhale. And then on your exhale, lift your hips up and up and up into your bridge pose. Now I like to bend the elbows, kind of like robot arms, and then use my elbows to press into the back of my triceps and lift my hips up even higher. So I want you to really activate your glutes. And when you do that, you'll get a little bit of lift through the pelvis here. And that's what we're looking for. So really charge them up. I know your glutes have worked hard for you all class. This is your last fiery exercise though. And I'm gonna give you options. You can choose to stay here where you're at and try not to move your neck if you're in the expression of bridge pose, because it could aggravate it and now that you're up. Or if you want, you can just stay here. Or if you want, you can extend one leg out long and point the toe up towards the sky and lower it down. It's not easy. Try to keep your hips up as you do this. Opposite leg out, point it up towards the sky. Good. And we're just alternating, pointing one toe up towards the sky, straightening the leg. And this really challenges the glutes and really challenges the core, those deep core muscles. Remember that cue of the string cinching it closed from the hips? Yeah, that's what we're doing here. Good. And now vertebrae by vertebrae, lower all the way down to the mat. All right, give those feet a wide stance and big windshield wiper from side to side. So we're gonna prepare for a short and sweet Shavasana, which is really essential to do at the end of class. So if you're one who tends to skip the Shavasanas, really try and see it through to the end. What it is just this last bit of inward focus and reflection on what we did throughout practice. And it really kind of honors and seals the practice in. And so, and a little bit more rest for you too. So that's a good thing. So in whatever comfortable position you want to get into, you can take yourself to a bed or couch as well. You don't have to be on your floor. Resting your arms down by your sides, palms facing up. Let your feet splay open and find that heaviness on the backside of your body, kind of that grounding and melting sensation. With your eyes closed, take your focus to your third eye. That spot in the middle of your forehead, that place of all-knowingness. Many people find that when they rotate their eyes towards this center with their eyes closed, it helps to alleviate some stress and tension in the little muscles surrounding the eye socket. It also becomes a place of concentration that you can focus on. And this helps to foster concentration and deep inner awareness by holding your gaze on your third eye. Thank you for sharing practice with me today. Namaste.